Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina McCann-Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend, as always. And Lorrie, can you tell us what you do, who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Oh gosh. So I love so many things. I'm Lorrie Thomas, and I am the founder of an agency called Marketing Therapy. And for 19 years, we have helped intentional leaders make marketing better. We do everything from marketing optimization to marketing management, sometimes training employees' teams, or even virtual assistants, creating standard operating procedures. We are all about supporting our leaders, and everyone's marketing puzzle is different. And so we put those puzzle pieces together so marketing clicks. And what do I love the most about my work? I love people. I love people more than anything. And we are very fortunate to be a lifestyle business where we work with clients that we love. And the majority of our team has been together for well over a decade. And it's just win, win, win.
Yeah, that's saying a lot with the fact that your team's been together that long. It's hard. It's hard to keep people like engaged and happy, and especially, part of that was COVID. So it's even harder going through that to make sure everybody's, still doing what they want to do.
Yeah, we have one team member who's been on the team the entire 19 years, which is amazing. And we worked together even before that in the corporate world. So I think we're going on
Wow.
25 years of working
Oh
together.
my goodness,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Good for you. Good for you. So let's unpack. I mean, I know you mentioned a few things, but maybe describe some of the activities that you help people, with as far as, their companies and what you see working, what you see not working, like things change that works and then it doesn't work, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So the true meaning of marketing is relationships. And
Hmm.
I wake up every day with the stance that the way that we think about marketing is the single factor that drives stress or success. And when we stop thinking about marketing as the tools and spending money on marketing, but instead, how are we educating our ideal audiences? How are we creating ideal relationships? Looking at it as a long game, then suddenly the answers become very clear as to what to spend more time on, what to spend less time on. Are my efforts working? And we have a 5-factor success framework that we are able to layer on top of any business's efforts, whether they're new, established, small, large. And we're able to very quickly diagnose, prescribe, and guide, which for those of you, if that language sounds too squishy, it boils down to projects, processes, and systems. I speak both languages. Um, and there's an art of marketing and there's a science of marketing, but when you approach it from a place of heart, things do naturally fall into place. And so we love to take the stress out of marketing, the is it working questions, anything that may be of question, and create solutions. Even on our website on webmarketingtherapy.com, there is no services page, there's a solutions page, because so many agencies focus on selling services. We can do
Hmm.
social media, we can do your website. Yes, but what do you need? And think about it. If you're a web design firm and someone comes to you, you're going to sell a website, right? Because that's what you're there to sell. We're not attached. We don't have attachment issues. If someone has a great website, we're like, great. Now what? Or gosh, you actually have a really great team doing your social media. Keep them doing that, and let's do more of this, or let's leverage this, or let's find ways to work smarter, not harder. So it's a very custom approach to every organization that we serve. And it can also be putting people into place as companies grow and evolve and teams start to grow. We can often build those teams out and slowly exit. But it's very organic. It's there's such a, I mean, think about relationships in our lives, right?
Hmm.
It's not, they're all different, right? But it's, just doing it in a way where there's care and purpose.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's true. And like you said, every relationship's different, right? And the needs of that relationship is different. So I see what you're talking about. Um, and then like as far as some of the ways, marketing is something where as a business owner, you have to find a way to do it also, but at the same token, some people don't focus on it as much as other businesses. And what helps people kind of get to that point where they're like, oh yeah, I really do need help with this.
Sometimes it's mindset. That's often a big piece of it, right? The way that we think about marketing is our single factor of stress or success. When we look at our day-to-day businesses, for profit, nonprofit, it doesn't matter. We have operations, the act of doing what we are supposed to do. We have admin, the unglamorous but highly necessary piece of bill collection, payments, contracts, all that, HR, whatever. And then there's marketing, and poor little marketing gets treated like it has an on and off switch 95% of the time. And it's that mindset right there that is often a big thing to optimize, and just getting folks understanding that marketing is awareness, it's
Mhm.
communication, it's connection, it's service. My gosh, the biggest piece and the most overlooked piece of the marketing puzzle is service. There's so much effort to advertise and get people into the funnel, where while we do brilliant Google Ads management and social media ads, we're often working with clients and saying, what's happening? Like, why are these clients not renewing? Let's create systems here because this is part of your marketing process as well. So looking at all the pieces of the sales funnel, and again, it's just thinking about it in a different way. There's different opportunities and challenges for every business, and getting into those and really unpacking that so that systems can be optimized so that efforts are working and working better and working longer is all part of that process. But it's marketing, operations, and admin, and they all need to be working together. And actually, one of the meetings I had first thing this morning was that thing. It was this, and I just called it, right? I'm the marketing therapist. I can call it like I see it. And I said, there's such a dismissal of the sales process in your business model. And until you get over that, you're going to keep having all of these other cash flow challenges. And it was like crickets. And then it was like, okay, we hear you. And it's like, yes. So, yeah, and sales is not icky and yucky. And going back to the way that we think about marketing, if you Google the definition of marketing, you'll still see definitions today like the act of pushing and promoting products and services. We still have this used car sales kind
Mm.
of like feeling. I mean, I think about if I've gone into events and I said, "Oh, I'm an expert in marketing. I'm a former teacher. I used to teach for Berkeley and UC Santa Barbara. If you like me to teach," and there's often that like, she's in marketing. She's gonna. I'm like, no, but that's the challenge, but it's also the opportunity. And the solution is not thinking about marketing in that icky, pushy way, but instead, what's an ethical approach? And
Mhm.
so our foundation for everything we do is rooted in education. Who's our ideal audience? Who's our client's ideal audience? How do we empower them with content? Even the ads, the messaging, if that is a piece of the puzzle, and that's not for everybody, how do we do it in a way that's on brand but on purpose? And in teaching, they always taught you to teach to the smartest students in the room. And we use that same analogy with our clients of who's your ideal audience and how do we meet them where they're at and connect with them in a meaningful way. And it's, awareness, communication, connection, service, all of that supports sales. So it's a happier, healthier, and wealthier approach.
Yeah, and I love how you refer to yourself as a marketing therapist. Where did that evolve from? That's pretty cool.
So when I started my business in 2005 as Lorrie Thomas Web Marketing, very uncreative name, my clients who did not know each other, and I've been a virtual business since '05, my clients would say things like, "Oh, that was a great session. That was like a therapy session, Lorrie." Or, "Girl, I got to get on your couch." And I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Your therapy couch." Like, or, "Whoa, Lorrie, our web team was holding our website hostage and you came in and mediated this whole thing. And I feel less stressed." And all these therapyisms came up. So I bought the domain Web Marketing Therapy and I sat on it for 2 years and I just
Mm.
incubated and I was like, it's kind of weird. But I will say, when I started my business, as a female entrepreneur in my late 20s, in a sea of male, pale, and stale dudes in Santa Barbara, California, my blue ocean was being the marketing therapist. And my clients were primarily at that time very type A plus 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 males. And for me to be able to say, hey, dude, you're being a danger to yourself and others when you keep re-signing that contract and you're flushing money down the toilet. I could get away with speaking my truth because of my brand. And also, I was repelling to non-ideal clients, which saved me so much time talking to the wrong clients. So the power of branding, knowing your distinction, voicing your value and your values, we walk the talk, and it's the same thing that we help our clients do as well.
Yeah, and I love what you said there, like repelling clients that aren't a good fit, because it's hard as a business owner to say no. And sometimes we say yes because it's easier, and even though we know it's not a good fit, and it takes us a long time. Well, I should speak for myself. It took me a long time to get it to the point where I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not going to be a good fit for you because I'm not going to work the way you work. I work a different way, and I can't add value in that situation. So I think that's pretty cool that you saw that in the way you presented yourself, and you just repelled people who weren't a good fit.
For sure. For sure. And it's a scary thing to do
Oh
initially,
yeah.
but it's
Mm-hmm.
also scarier to put your time and effort and magic
Mm-hmm.
toward the wrong clients. I mean, I think
Yeah.
about some of the earlier startups that I worked with that never started up because they were dysfunctional entrepreneurs and were dangerous to themselves and others and couldn't get out of their own darn way. And those were not ideal clients. And I was like, wow, I am an expert in my field, and my time and energy and magic is not going to something that's really helping others. And so today, our clients, who we call internally at Web Marketing Therapy intentional leaders, they operate with passion and purpose. They're good humans. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're coaches, they're authors, they're financial advisors. I'm just trying to think of I mean, all the emails going in and out, staffing companies. There's such a diversity in the industries that we have the pleasure of serving and supporting, but there's this common thread of every company has a leader at the helm that gives a darn. And
Yeah.
that for us is very much aligned with how we operate. And it just works. It's win-win-win, right? Win for us, lifestyle business, win for the client because we get them, but just, win for the audiences that they're trying to serve too, and just helping create that affinity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, if people want to learn more about you and your business slash practice, therapy, all that fun stuff, where would they go to find more information?
Webmarketingtherapy.com. And you can also Google me, Lorrie Thomas. I love to joke that if you want to look at my hairdos over the years, my long hair, my short hair, my, whatever, it's all on Google. We are, LinkedIn's a great way to connect with me personally, especially to say that you listen to the podcast. Any, connections, questions, I always say don't hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to chat with folks and point people in the right direction.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, one of my questions next is something I do like to ask is, what are some of the challenges that you have faced as a professional woman?
Gosh, where did I begin? Like, deep breath. I had more challenges in the corporate world
Mhm.
where I did not have a seat at the table. And the reasons I left the confines of the corporate world and started my own business is because I wanted to be a peer. And that alone gave me an edge. My bigger challenges were earlier on in the business when it was mostly me and a small team. Now, as an employer with employees and healthcare costs and all this stuff, I'm a bigger advocate. If someone at the time was like, oh, hey, can we do it for less? Or I remember very early on, and mind you, I started my business in my late 20s. I remember someone saying, and I gave a talk at an event, and that's how this prospective client heard about us. And they said, it was almost like on demeaning, like, oh, sweetie, we can help you. If you do work for us for free, we'll tell all of our members how good you are. And as much as I wanted to, and I'm very irreverent and like so brutally honest, as much as I could feel that fire in my belly, I said, I appreciate you thinking of that. And I am so busy with existing client work that I wouldn't have time to do work like that. However, noticing your association and a lot of your members, they're very deficient in marketing. And if anything, you could pay me, and I put my price out to do a webinar to teach all of your members some best practices that they can put in place immediately. Because I'm an educator, I can empower them, and you'll be the hero by bringing me
Yeah.
in. So they
Yeah.
hire me, they pay me. I met the founder of, at that time, my largest client, because I didn't say yes to something that didn't serve me. I didn't say no and shut the door. I communicated what would work for me. And I
Hmm.
instantly heard in my mind, no, that doesn't work for me to do work for free. Like F you is what I wanted
Right.
to say.
No. Yeah.
But I also saw like this person wasn't lazy, crazy, or bad. They really were trying to help out. And it was funny because years later, they brought me back to do more training. And we kept a really, great relationship over the years. But because of that, I was connected with a client that began the marketing therapy path, where it was a client that said, we want you to do SEO on our website and this, can you do it? Yes. And the more I got into the heart of this organization, I was like, oh, you need a rebrand. Like, this is way bigger than what it originally looked like. And that client at the time, and I spoke my truth, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I did what they asked me to do. I said, however, I have to go on record saying that we can do this, but it's only going to get you here. And like, you could be here, but we've got to put some practices in place now to get you there. And I actually paid out of pocket to have mock-ups made of a new site and like kind of a teaser brand and all this. Total gamble on my part. And they were like, wow, you really care. And I remember that, like these two guys sitting there, and I'm thinking they're going to kick me out of the office for not doing exactly what I was asked. But it was that moment that I realized if I don't speak my truth, I'm not helping anybody. And
Hmm.
we say internally at our company that we get paid to be great, and sometimes that isn't nice, right? And clear is kind, and so
Yeah.
yeah, we're always educating. But again, just remembering that I wasn't, being, you know, unreliable. I was just being very honest, and instead of saying no, it was being educational. But yeah, I think I had challenges like any business owner, but they all became opportunities.
That's
I
right.
had I had professors I had, in graduate school when I was building my business, I was in grad school as well, told me I couldn't have a lifestyle business. You start, scale, sell. And I'd raise my hand and say, well, but what if you want that? Like, no, 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 blah, blah. And I still broke every rule. I work with some of my best friends. I work with my ex-husband. My niece is on the team. My stepdaughter's on my team. We do everything. We break all the rules, but we lead with love, and it just works. And so there is power in just being clear with, what feels right to you internally.
Yeah. I hear you 100% on a lot of what you just said. And working for free is something that people ask a lot, and they don't even realize that they're doing it sometimes, because if you turn it around on them and said something like, oh, okay, did you work this week and would you work next week without a paycheck? They would say no. Okay, well then why would you expect me to work without a paycheck? It's so I'm so glad you stood up to that, um, and worked through it and actually had a positive result of the way you turned it and took advantage of an opportunity that actually many people got benefit from. That's cool.
It's,
Really
it's
cool.
paying attention. And thank you for that. It's, that's that every challenge is an opportunity. And
Hmm.
even if someone doesn't say yes immediately, it might be yes later. And,
Yeah.
but you're always better off saying what you need to say. And,
Right.
and I think some of my biggest mistakes were being too nice or agreeing, or if someone maybe said they do one thing and they wanted change, but they weren't willing to change. You do get to a point in business where you just say, we'd love to help you. We're not going to be able to. And I've never been afraid to walk away if it isn't the right fit. And that's also just part of your business, is always you create, you execute, you monitor, and you rinse, repeat. And we're always paying attention to, ooh, how do we make this better? How do we, oh, okay, this happened, or ooh, this client said all the things, but now they're not willing to do X, Y, Z.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I remember speaking with a prospective client. I looked at this person's business model and I said, until you hire an assistant, we can't even come on board because
Wow.
you're going to implode with all
Mm,
of the work that you're taking on. And I'm saying that as a fellow business owner. And I'm not like, I mean, most agencies would just push that proposal on you and get to work. And we can do all of that. You just need help when you're doing way too much yourself. And this
yeah.
person was like, whoa, oh. And they got a virtual assistant who's wonderful. And we were able to offload a lot of marketing, kind of basic tedious stuff to free the owner up because it's our role as business leaders to be focused on revenue generating activities. So yeah, I think, we just go deeper than
Mhm.
maybe the average agency, but it's, always better to be honest, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And your integrity goes a long way. I mean, that's if you don't have integrity, you don't have anything.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's get in a time machine and talk about what your vision of retirement looks like.
Ooh, so fun. As an employer, I'm very big on matching 401ks and all that stuff for my team because I want them to be saving as well. For me, it's spending a lot more time outside. I love to hike. I love to travel. And I see myself very much in work optional. I don't see myself retiring anytime soon.
Mhm.
I'm in my late 40s. I do have a very unique lens as a lifestyle business owner where, it's not like I'm, working my 50 hours a week and then I get my pension and I die. I see myself doing more board work, more volunteering, having a lot of fun. If I'm not having fun just in the day to day,
Yeah.
it's not aligning for me. So I have a teenage daughter, so that's going to change when she goes to college, and where I end up living might be based on where she ends up going. So yeah, I just but very much I'm a big believer in wellness, and not
Mhm.
just physical fitness, but mental wellness and having time for joy and friends and all those things.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful vision. I love it. Love it, love it. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I'm glad I got a chance to learn a little bit more about what you're doing out there.
Thank you so much. This was a joy. Thanks for having me
Yeah.
on.
Anytime. And thanks everyone else for joining us. Again, I'm Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth. And my website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and on LinkedIn, Regina McCann Hess. Go make it a great day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founders video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.